Alright, so where we're at now is we've got this really junky style cooler because we don't have anything else in house except for that giant EK block that we run on my massive water cooled unit that's got the 270 Z270 chipset and the 7700K. So we tried to do a benchmark with this, and man, she started cooking really fast. It never reached its full turbo boost because the temperatures were just too high. When it maxed out at 96 degrees Celsius, that's way too high for me. I really don't like much above 70, and I never top up over 80. I just don't think it's safe. And your NVIDIA cards, they won't run past like 90, I think, because it's just not safe. So we've cut a couple shots here that will pop up in different places for you to see. But we did do kind of a preliminary burn test, and we just weren't even able to get to where we wanted to get. So I'm going to shut this down now, and we're going to delid and get into the fun stuff. What we worked on all day, or what I worked on all day. On the bottom side, I just took some of that metal polish from the last step and put it on there. I tried to use some of the sandpaper, but the way that that's made, it's really hard to find a surface that will get down in there and do what you want to do. So I just buffed it really well with my hand that took all the imperfections out of it. So. Thick, super thick. You can get these at Rite Aid or any sort of medical store, but it's just isopropyl alcohol on pads, and they're perforated pads, so it makes wiping the stuff off a little bit easier. I want to take pictures of the orientation of this stuff so that if I get confused, I can put things back the way that they are. I wanted to do this for quite a while. I bought this tool for the 7700K, and I just never got around to using it. I really bought that IHS for the 7700K too, but then I got this processor. Arrow. See what the orientation is supposed to be. Not matter, but I'm sure someone will say something in the comments. I've never installed one of those before. It looks right to me. I've been really excited about doing all this stuff for a while. I'm really glad that we're doing it now. Like I said earlier, the bias method is just not safe anymore. because the PCB can't take the pressure. This gives reinforcement all the way around. And Rockit Cool did a really good job and made quite an affordable product, I thought. Oh, man, that's nerve-wracking. That makes me nervous. That was a lot of pressure. But of course, putting it in a vise, I never can tell how much pressure I'm actually applying. It would be terrible if we ruined a $400 or $500 processor. I don't remember what it cost. Oh, and there's your junky Tim. Looks good. Looks really good. I don't think we're reloading. I don't want to do that because this will. Studies have shown that putting a sealant around this is not going to be a positive thing. It's going to make a mess, and it's also going to reduce the amount of contact you're getting from top to bottom. So we're just not going to do it. I mean, everybody else is doing it, and they seem safe. Why can't I? And you could totally, for low budget, polish the bejeebus out of this and get a mirror finish like we did with the all copper Rockit Cool IHS. It's almost hard to see because from some angles that is reflective and others it's not. I think there's some pits in the top of the PCB. They're making it like that. At this point, just for safety, I highly recommend using super glue or fingernail polish. And you cover these little spots. These are like, I'm assuming that they're like JTAG jumpers and things for testing these chips on the assembly line. But pretty much any nail polish will do. I just went to the local Rite Aid and picked up some clear top coat nail polish. I'm going to cover these 4 diagnostic pins because we're using liquid gallium and it is conductive. And while it won't hurt being on top of the silicone die, it will hurt if it gets on those pins. So we don't want that. Definitely don't want that. So I'm just covering those 4 little surface dots. Let's see if I can get that up there. No, that goes completely underneath the IHS. See that? I'm trying to get you a better picture. Alright. So it's time for the gallium. I don't plan on touching that, so it should be okay. We'll leave it dry because we're not going to seal it anyway. I see a little bit of something on the surface, so I'm going to take that off. Now, some people use way too much of this stuff, and it's just like regular thermal compound. The less you use, more than likely the better off you're going to be. So brush has been used. I think I'm going to switch to this other one that's not been used. Make sure we're not leaving any residues or anything behind, because that's what clump of something come off there. I'm trying to coax it without pushing a whole lot out. I really don't want any more than what I have to have. Basically just spread it on until you get that whole die covered. It doesn't take much at all. It's just that little bit that I spurted out there. You can see that we covered it pretty well. I'm going to go back to my phone, make sure that I'm going to turn this thing the right way when I put it on. Cigarette. So now I'm going to put the thermal interface material on the back of our copper block. I'm going to wipe it down with isopropyl alcohol first, because I want to make sure that it's clean, because I don't want all that polishing and stuff that I went through earlier to tarnish, because I forgot to take the oils off. Looks like there's still enough on there to do this part too. It doesn't look like it, but when you first start dabbing it down, you're like, oh, that's not enough. And then the more you mess with it, I may even take some off the top of here because there's just a hair too much. Transfer it over here. I've watched a lot of videos and read a lot of research about how this stuff works, and for the best results, you don't reseal it. You put the Temp on both sides, and the nail polish is just a safety thing. We just want to make sure that we don't fry this processor in the event that there's too much of this liquid gallium on there.
I've heard rumors. Some people say that this stuff gets old, but it's that first dab that I put on there was from a brush that we used like over 6 months ago on a different client's computer, and we haven't seen that it goes bad, and especially it being a liquid metal, I don't see how it could. But I think I saw a video. Some guy took it, and what did he do? He took his apart after it had been running for like a year, and he had put too much on, and he still wasn't having any trouble. So I'm not very worried about that. But I'm super stoked, very pleased with the results that I've got here. You can take a look at the output here. The heat profile across all 6 cores was much more uniform. It was all of them were within 3-degree variance. And to take where before we had 1 core, well 2 cores actually, when they topped out, 1 core was doing pre-test stock cooler, IC diamond. Stock cooler from like an i5, but these numbers are really good. Core 0 had 96 degrees centigrade, Core 1 was 95, Core 3 was 93, and Core 4 was 94. And then the other cores were at 89, which is kind of interesting. This time we had a completely uniform across the board within 3 degrees. So I'm tickled to death. I can't wait to get this under my water cooled setup, because I can't wait to see what it does. I know with the 7700K and the thermal compound that's on it, I hit like 72, and my 1080 Ti, which is overclocked as far as you can go without a power mod, is only hitting 42 degrees. So I'm really looking forward to that. Thanks for watching our video today. Really enjoyed doing this. I'm glad to sit down and put all this stuff together, and all the things that I've learned over the years to help other people become more versed in it. Problem with my younger years was there was no place to go to get information. You read what you read on forums, and people say stuff that's just not true. So we're trying to provide something to give you physical evidence, a good walkthrough, and just, if you enjoy the hobby, get more in depth with it. So tune in. Subscribe, I guess, because we'll probably be on Twitch and YouTube. And if you've got stuff that you'd like to see us do, let us know. Thanks.